Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest rendition of Tales from Outer Space. Taken from the subreddit HFY. All the relevant links will be down below. And as always, I hope that you enjoy, and if you do, please consider supporting the channel. Now, on to the science fiction. Story number 1. And on the 8th day, humanity said, WTF is this crap? Written by Amphicodius. The picture zoomed in on the last remaining black hole as it slowly emitted the last of its Hawking radiation. There was a brief flash before the light redshifted to undetectability, and then the show was over. God shut off the screen and excitedly turned to humanity. So, what do you think? Humanity, startled from her sleep, sleepily brushed her hair off her face and asked, Huh? What? Universe, my game, what do you think? She said to God, his face filled with anticipation. She forced a smile onto her face. It was good, I liked it. Really? What was your favorite part? Humanity took a deep breath, held it for a few seconds, and then let it out in a long sigh. Well, gosh, it was so long, which part do I choose? God's happy face immediately dropped. You think it was too long? Is 100 trillion years too long? Humanity still hadn't completely woken up. No, it was fine. Well, perhaps the opening cutscene was a bit long, she rubbed her eyes. Ending cutscene was long as well. Well, I needed time to set everything up. It's a big universe. Yeah, but 14 billion years. Whole thing could have been done in 6 days. She again looked at God. He was pouting. I guess things would have been lost, though, she added quickly. Her mind flashed back to the one species 4 billion years in that had begun to develop tools, but then got wiped out by a comet impact. Vital things. Yeah, that was my thought as well. But it show everything, you know. I briefly considered having the player read about all of it, but eventually I decided to animate it. Deciding there was really no good way to respond to that information, humanity simply nodded. So what did you think of the gameplay? God asked. Humanity took another deep breath. Well, it certainly was hard. Yeah, I was going with a bit of Soulsian thing there. No, Dark Souls is punishing. This was hard. I don't understand. Well, there's a lot of bullcrap reasons to die. I mean, until you unlock modern medicine, half of your playthrough's just game over before you even really start. Huh, yeah. God trailed off for a moment. I think that's a bug, or did I have the story reason for that? I can't remember. Anyway, you're right. I should have taken that out. Rest was fine though, right? Well, no. After that, there was still a lot of ways to die that I didn't have any control over. Oh, but those I planned. AIDS was part of your plan. Of course. Shitty plan, mate. God crossed his arms. Hey, no reason to be mean about it. Dude, you asked for my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion. God pouted again. An honest opinion was perhaps not the thing that he wanted. I mean, humanity said. Crap, he's gonna cry. Make something up. I guess I just didn't understand the plan. I'm sure it's brilliant. God's eyes lit up. Success! It's a very ineffable plan. Yes, ineffable, that's the word. In-effing believable, more like it. So, what do you think about the late game content? You mean the slightly after the start game content, right? On a cosmic timeline, yes. Well, it's a bit, tedious. God immediately looked back at his masterpiece. Tedious? How do you mean? Well, the space travel minigame, for example. Yes, I mean, I like that you give us a moon. It's a nice close target. You get there pretty quickly. And then there's that competition with the AI. The, space race, was it? It's really fun. So, that's not tedious, is it? That's like, anti-tedious. You're not letting me finish. That part is fun. But then it stops and there's really no reason to go back out there. The asteroids have minerals you can mine. Not profitably, without much higher tech. For the sake of curiosity. You can't get enough funding. I guess that's a bug. Yeah, those might be. Also, the nearest habitable planet is several light years away. Ma, can you go outside there without a suit? No, not habitable. Things are generally just way too far apart in your game. But if I made them closer together, the world would be way smaller. A bigger world is always good, right? Yeah, no. Minecraft flat worlds are also big, doesn't make them fun to play. What followed was a long silence, as if this realization had caused God's brain to log out, and he was desperately trying to remember what random sequence of buttons he had used to answer, "What was the name of your favorite child pet?" So wait, God's brain had rebooted. The beginning cutscene and ending cutscenes are too long, the start game content is bullcrap, and the end game content is tedious. What exactly did you like about my game? Another silence followed, precisely as long as the previous one, but this time better understood as the eternity at which a deer interprets its last few seconds, startled by the incoming headlights. The deer was eventually hit by the car, but miraculously survived and decided that this was all its own fault for not telling the car the cold, hard truth. I didn't. God didn't reply. He simply stared at humanity. Deciding that no news was good news, humanity continued. Your game is boring most of the time, painful for most of the remainder, and only occasionally enjoyable. The mechanics are convoluted, hard to understand, and even harder to use to your advantage. The story is so bullcrap that I'm fairly certain that there isn't one, and you just made crap up as you went along. This game is a train wreck, by which I mean that it isn't, because at least a train wreck is generally clear where everything is headed. Feeling the relief of finally letting her pent-up frustration, humanity decided to go further. If this were a painting, I would tell you your time would be better spent funding the Nazi party. I would tell you to scrap everything and start over, but your game is so bad that I've decided you're the only person not capable of approving by any amount of practice. For the good of all living things, I'm revoking your creation license. In the future, please refrain from creating anything. Do not imagine things. Do not write a book. Do not even stack 2 Lego bricks on each other. You are a terrible person, and you suck at making things. There was a silence for a few moments, as both people realized the weight of the words that had just been said. Finally, God said, "You know, you're a real ass. You know that." Humanity smiled. I learned from the best. End of story. Story number 2. Angry Programming, written by ArcDragon99. You god-forsaken computer, may Ada Lovelace curse you and your buggy ancestors. The 2 aliens glanced at the door from which the scream emanated. Are you gonna check on him? Nah, that's pretty normal for around this time of the project. A howl of anger from the room followed by a loud slam. Trevolo rubbed his forearms together, gave a concerned look around the sparsely furnished room. What do you mean normal? That doesn't sound normal. It sounds like he's in a brood fight. The short alien shrugged, but didn't bother looking away from the game. He is currently in the debugging portion of the project. I don't know what to tell you besides that. He just kinda does that. The 4-armed alien looked back at the game and tried to forget about the loud roommate. He had almost managed to do so when the human crashed out into the living room area, muttering darkly to himself. Code giving you issues again? The short alien called back. The human opened the mini-fridge, grabbed a bright green drink and slammed it shut. Gee, Tarlek, what gave you that idea? Don't Tarlek me, Michael. Just because you can't figure out your own code doesn't mean you get to sass me. The human shook his head and popped off the lid of his drink. I'm telling you, the computer's conspiring against me. The code should work by every metric, but it simply doesn't. The human huffed while gesturing with his free hand. I'm sure I've checked everything. The code is all pretty straightforward, but the computer just decides I'm going to throw a random errors. I swear I'm going to go explode it if it doesn't start making sense. You check to make sure your loops have an exit condition. did you make sure that all your variables are actually created instead of just defined? Dalek shot back. Michael's jaw opened and closed a few times as several expressions shot across his face. Pivoting, he slammed down his drink, dashed back into his room. The dorm room went quiet except for a hollow vid and the occasional crunch of chips from Dalek. Trivolo opened his mouth but was quickly cut off by a hand from Dalek. A few more seconds passed and the shouting began again. On God's green earth, do you mean it works this time? Are you sure he's in the right major? Oh, yeah, he loves computer science. You have a weird roommate. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.